Now, what is overtraining? Overtraining is now known to crash testosterone levels, but what exactly is overtraining? Now, this is often misunderstood, and in this video I'll provide the facts and the solutions. But remember, this isn't mass gain, this is the maintenance of healthy testosterone levels as you get older, and to not need to revert to TRT or hormone replacement therapy of any kind. Now, truth is, overtraining and what is or is not overtraining is different for everybody. This is determined by your own personal levels of fitness. Now, over time, you're going to build up a tolerance to exercise and training. When this tolerance arrives, it becomes your new level of fitness, and your new level of fitness becomes your new normal. So what is overtraining to one person may not necessarily be overtraining to another. Now, David Goggins has been used as an example of overtraining by many and even criticised for being lean. But in truth, he has built up a tolerance to physical activity over many years and to his body and to his own motor programming. This is all completely normal and it's not overtraining at all. And David Goggins just so happens to have the ideal physique for higher natural testosterone levels, which is the lean, athletic and wiry physique. Now, just because someone else can train that hard and cope with it and cope with the demands does not mean that you can. So what exactly is overtraining? Well, overtraining occurs when you have established a condition known as systematic inflammation, when your level of inflammation has become chronic or long-term. Now, inflammation is another misunderstood thing. It isn't good and it isn't bad. Many now are under the misguided belief that inflammation must be blocked or suppressed, and is something that is not always considered to be bad, when this is not true. It's when things are taken to an excess that they can have a negative effect, prolonged and consistent inflammation. Now, inflammation is necessary to deliver fresh oxygen and nutrients to injured tissues to help repair them. Muscle strength, muscle development, and also increasing athletic performance also occurs as a result of tissue being damaged and then being repaired, and then the repaired tissues resulting in stronger and better performing muscles. Now, some inflammation is necessary to stimulate this healing process and is therefore vital to recovery, muscle recovery. So when you ache the following day after training a muscle group in the gym, this is inflammation. This is only acute inflammation or short-term inflammation. Usually disappears after a couple of days. But when inflammation lasts for several weeks, it can then begin to become a problem. This is chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation also severely negatively affects life quality. Now, many men now believe that training to hypertrophy is the best training method, and it's reputed to be the best training method for muscle growth and mass gain. But long-term muscle mass gain also crashes testosterone levels, and it also increases long-term inflammation. There'll be many that say, I've got no idea what I'm talking about. Of course, when you train to hypertrophy consistently without cycling your training, you can end up constantly inflamed and stiff. We have all done a hard leg day and woken up the following day, especially as beginners, with stiff quads, hamstrings, calves, glutes, lower back, and it's difficult to bend down or even reach to put on a pair of shoes, and I'm sure we've all been there at some point. Training to hypertrophy, working each muscle group in turn in this same way, leaves you feeling stiff and tight for the majority of the time. Now, consider that the average training week for many gym guys is kind of 4 to 5 days training, and it takes a day or two for the muscles to fully recover. That's 8 to 9 days a week that you will have stiffness in some part of your body. You see what I mean? You're stiff all the time. Now, when you are stiff and tight, you are inflamed and you haven't yet fully recovered. This is what overtraining is. You have not allowed sufficient time for your muscles to recover before working out again. This is why training to hypertrophy is not the best training method for testosterone maintenance. Carried out long term, as most training to hypertrophy advocates tend to do, leads to sustaining long term inflammation. And when you are spending the majority of your week stiff and you have movement restrictions during these periods of stiffness, you are training yourself to develop age-related mobility decline at a much younger age. You are training yourself to become stiff and training yourself to age quicker. Age-related mobility decline correlates to reduced physical activity levels when you get older, and this also correlates to lower levels of testosterone, because one of the most important things is your ability to be active when you're older for your testosterone. Next time you're in the gym, make a note of how mass gain and bodybuilders move, and you will see obvious signs of movement restrictions in the way they walk and the way they move. It's obvious. Now, symptoms of systematic inflammation include reduced testosterone levels, weight gain, particularly around the midsection, fatigue, brain fog, lethargy, insomnia, joint and muscle pain, increased risk of injuries, low mood, depression, lowered immunity and increased susceptibility to infections, progressive muscle weakness, progressive reductions in range of motion. And this is why most hypertrophy advocates end up taking steroids to push through this debilitating feeling and all the corresponding negative effects. And with the endless bulking and cutting cycles that usually go with this kind of regime, it's a disaster for testosterone maintenance in the long term. Now, train for stamina and endurance instead. Why? Because stamina and endurance athletes recover faster, can perform better and do more work. And stamina means more energy. When energy runs out, you are more vulnerable to pain and injuries. This is what the term fatigue really means. You are not going to build up any level of stamina if you are just training weights all the time to hypertrophy in sets of 8 to 10 reps, and then you're taking the prescribed periods of rest of 2 to 3 minutes in between each set. Now, considering that a normal unrushed set takes anything between 30 seconds to a minute, that's 2/3 of your gym time spent standing around doing nothing. High performance athletes spend years building resistance to fatigue through mixed training methods that allow them to function better and also train at a higher intensity before ever experiencing fatigue. Active recovery workouts will also help you to recover faster on rest days. Now, for me, rest days is the days that I do not use weights. I train weights 4 times a week. On the other days, I go running, hiking, biking, lots of other different things. I'm 51 years old, I'm active 7 days a week, and I've got no movement restrictions and no joint problems. And I do not spend my time feeling stiff, so my methods work. Training in this way also correlates to having healthy testosterone levels as you get older. The most important thing, if I'm cornered, what's the most important thing to maintaining healthy testosterone levels as you get older? Because there's lots of elements that contribute towards optimized testosterone levels. Now, it's your ability. The number one thing, it's your ability to train and move to a high intensity, especially when you get older. And if you've been training yourself to become stiff, then you're going to lose out here big time. Many hypertrophy advocates will say that I'm making excuses to not train hard enough. Now, when I was a regular at a commercial gym, I would weight train for 2 to 3 hours at a time, observing only 30 to 45 seconds rest in between each set. All the mass gain guys used to say that I trained for too long. Now, training for only 45 minutes to an hour is just a poor excuse for lacking stamina and endurance, is my response to anyone suggesting that I'm avoiding training hard enough. We all have different training objectives. Mine is stamina, endurance, and movement longevity. After training When I was in the commercial gym, I would cycle 30 to 50 kilometers, after my workout, even on leg day. Hypertrophy guys say that if you don't stagger out of the gym on leg day, you didn't train hard enough. Well, I'm different. If you cannot walk at least 10 kilometers or cycle at least 20 kilometers immediately after your leg day workout, then you've got no stamina. Swings and roundabouts, just get on with it. And I still train like this today after doing this for near on 20 years now. Doing this helps your legs to recover faster too. Doing this helps you to surpass feeling stiff all week. For mobility, longevity, this works, and it is the best approach to training also for testosterone levels as you get older. Now build up your fitness levels gradually over time. Don't train weights all the time. Vary your training, get plenty of stamina and endurance training in too. Cycle your weight training sessions to include stamina sessions and heavy weight sessions. And activities, add activities to your regime gradually. Allow yourself to build up tolerance to them. Don't rush into this. You've got time. Don't be concerned with fast results. You will build up stamina over time. Cycle your training so you are training all elements and all angles. This all correlates to having, preventing age-related mobility decline. Now, I will be adding a new series to the channel in the not too distant future to help you prevent age-related mobility decline, as this is absolutely vital to having healthy testosterone levels as you get older. Subscribe to this channel and follow this series for more.